They say a man should be silent, unmoved and centered in himself, that he should not seek to please nor aim to impress. And yet, there is a strange power in the rare words he chooses to speak, especially when they are unexpected, forbidden, and deeply felt. The Stoic man does not compliment often, not because he lacks admiration, but because he understands something most men don't. Words have weight, and when they are overused, they lose their soul. He speaks like a sculptor cuts stone, rarely, carefully, and with the intention to shape the world around him. And when he does offer a compliment, it's not the kind women hear every day. It's not the flattery that passes like wind through their ears. It's not "you're beautiful" or "you look great" or "I love your smile." Number. That's common currency. What makes a woman weak around a man, truly weak, is not the sweetness of his words but the silence from which those words arise. A compliment born not from desire but from stillness, not from wanting but from seeing, not from needing but from knowing. A Stoic man sees a woman the way a philosopher sees nature. He does not praise the flower because it is useful or pleasing to the eye. He honors it because it is what it is, unapologetically alive. So when he speaks, it cuts through the noise of the world. He says something that reaches beneath her skin, something that shows her he is not seduced by the surface, that he is not moved by illusion, but by depth. He might tell her, "You carry silence like armor," not "you're cute" or "sexy," but "silent like armor," a phrase that reveals he sees the strength she hides, the quiet battles she fights, the way she protects herself with grace. And in that moment she does not feel exposed, she feels understood. Or he might look at her, not with hunger, but with still recognition and say, "You have a kind of chaos I respect. Not fear, not control, not judgment, respect." He's not trying to fix her, not trying to contain her. He sees the wildness, the unpredictability, the fire, and instead of running from it, he bows to it. That makes her melt, not because she wants to be worshipped, but because she wants to be seen. The Stoic man is dangerous because he does not try to make a woman feel beautiful. He makes her feel real. And in a world that constantly asks her to perform, to decorate, to pretend, being around a man like that feels like coming home. She leans in not because he flatters her, but because he awakens something she forgot was there. She becomes soft, not because he forces her, but because he allows her to stop performing. His compliments are not thrown like seeds, hoping to grow affection. They are like mirrors, held still and quiet, reflecting something back to her that no one else has dared to reflect. Not what she shows the world, but what she buries beneath the surface. And that is what makes her weak. Weak not in the sense of powerless, but weak in the sense that her armor cracks, that her masks drop, that her voice changes, and for the first time in a long time, she feels free. Because compliments, when spoken with force, mean nothing, but when spoken with presence, they transform. The Stoic man does not compliment because he needs approval. He compliments because he sees. And in that seeing, there is power. Not the power to conquer her, but the power to calm her. Not the power to win her, but the power to witness her. And that is what separates the noise from the signal, the many men from the rare one, and flattery from revelation. So speak less, see more. Let your silence be full of depth, and let your words come only when they rise from the stillness within, because that's where the forbidden lives, and that's where her softness begins. She forgets most men, the ones who try too hard, the ones who flatter her with empty praise, the ones who want something, her body, her validation, her attention. They come and go like dust on the wind. She forgets them, not out of cruelty, but because they never really saw her. But there is one kind of man she cannot forget, a man who didn't chase, a man who didn't flatter, a man who didn't try to impress. He simply saw her, without needing her. There's a rare silence in the presence of such a man, a calm awareness. He looks at her without hunger, without fear, without expectations. And in that gaze, she feels something ancient awaken inside her, something that doesn't come alive in shallow attention. Most men speak to the image. He speaks to the essence. Most want to touch her skin. He touches her spirit with the absence of need. And that is what shakes her, because need is common, but presence is rare. The Stoic man has no desire to possess. He is rooted in himself. He does not orbit a woman's affection. He remains grounded in purpose. And so, when he speaks to her, there is no weight of expectation, only truth. He can tell her without trembling, "You remind me of a storm I once watched from the mountains." And she won't know what to say, because no man has ever compared her to something so vast, so indifferent, so wild. Not a doll, not a flower, but a storm. That's the kind of compliment that cuts through her memory like a blade. Not because it flatters her, but because it elevates her. And yet, he expects nothing in return. Not a smile, not validation, not even gratitude. Because the Stoic man does not compliment to gain. He compliments to give form to what is rare and beautiful. He may disappear from her life. He may never message again. He may never touch her hand. But the impression he leaves, that stays. Because he mirrored something sacred inside her. Something she had long buried beneath makeup, noise, and masks. She tries to forget him. She dates louder men. She fills her time. But there are moments, quiet, still, late-night moments, where her mind wanders back, not to his face, not to his body, but to the way he made her feel. Unseen, he saw her. Untouched, he reached her. Unattached, he moved her. And that is why the Stoic man is unforgettable. He doesn't chase, but he is remembered. He doesn't control, but he is respected. He doesn't cling, but he is missed. Because presence is more seductive than pressure, and stillness is more magnetic than pursuit. A woman's body may respond to desire, but her soul responds to clarity, to a man who knows who he is, and doesn't need her to complete him. So let others chase, let them flatter and perform. You, be still, be grounded. And when you speak, let it come from that deep, ancient place inside you where truth lives. That's the place she can't forget. That's the energy she craves, but cannot name. And that's what makes you not just attractive, but unforgettable. She'll never say it out loud, but deep down she doesn't crave the perfect man. Not the richest, not the best looking, not even the most romantic. She craves the one who's present, fully there, fully grounded, fully aware. And yet, presence is the rarest thing a man can give. The world is full of men who chase with noise. They try to impress with loud gestures, crafted words, rehearsed charm. But their mind is elsewhere, rooted in outcome, tied to results, addicted to how she'll respond. The Stoic man is different. He's not performing. He's not calculating. He's not seeking control. He has no script, no checklist, no fear of silence. He's here. Now that's what shakes her. Not the intensity of what he says, but the stillness behind it. He isn't trying to lead the moment. He is the moment. And in that presence, she relaxes. Because presence isn't passive. It's the purest form of masculine strength. To stand in front of a woman with a calm gaze and not reach for her, but let her feel that you could, and that you're simply choosing not to. That restraint is magnetic. Not because it withholds affection, but because it whispers, "I am full with or without you." A man like that does not beg to be loved. He does not search for validation. His attention is a gift, rare, undiluted, and piercing. So when he gives it, it lands like thunder. He may say nothing at all, just look at her with a quiet understanding. And that gaze, that unspoken presence, is more seductive than 1,000 compliments. Because women are not starving for praise. They're starving for realness, for a man who listens with his eyes, for a man who isn't distracted by his phone, or his ego, or his next move, for a man who can sit in the fire of emotion and not flinch. And when she finds it, even for a moment, it shifts her. She feels feminine again. Not because he made her feel that way, but because his grounded energy allowed her to drop her guard. She doesn't need a man to complete her, but she craves the space a present man creates, a space where she can be soft without being weak, a space where her storm is not feared, but welcomed. Only the man who has conquered himself can hold that space, the man who has walked through his own pain without blaming others, the man who has suffered but not turned bitter, the man who speaks little but sees much. That's the man who disarms her. That's the man she respects in silence. That's the man she thinks about when the world gets loud. Not because he filled her life with chaos, but because he gave her a moment of peace. And peace is unforgettable. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop chasing. Stop seeking to be everything she wants. Be here, be clear, be unmoved by her waves. And in doing so, become the one she cannot stop thinking about. Not because you needed her, but because, for the first time, she felt truly seen. There's a strange law in the unseen realm of attraction, something few men understand. The more you need her, the less she feels you. The more you detach, the more she senses your presence. Need repels. Presence attracts. Because neediness is a hole, a silent scream that says, "I'm not enough." And women can feel it instantly, no matter how good your words are, no matter how confident your body language pretends to be. Need leaks through. But when a man becomes complete on his own, when he no longer needs her love, her attention, or her approval, that's when she begins to feel something she can't explain. It's not charm. It's not looks. It's not style. It's the quiet gravity of a man who is whole. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't rush to fill silence. He simply is. And this being is what she starts to crave. Not because he gives her anything, but because his presence feeds something deeper than desire. You see, a man who is grounded in purpose becomes untouchable. His energy is clean. He is no longer a boy playing love games. He is no longer seduced by beauty or approval. He has tasted solitude. He has built peace inside his mind. He has burned in loneliness and risen from it wiser. So when he is with a woman, he brings her peace, not pressure. He brings her direction, not distraction. He brings her truth, not performance. And this is where everything changes. Because now, she starts to lean in, not because he pulled her, but because his energy is a rare shelter in a world of noise. She wants to be near him, to feel what he feels, to melt into the silence that he wears like armor. Not because he won her, but because he let her feel safe without losing her fire. That is the power of detachment, not coldness, not arrogance, but sacred stillness. And when a woman meets that kind of man, she doesn't feel dominated, she feels free. This is not about tricks, not about lines, not about being the alpha or the bad boy. It's about becoming a man who is not swayed by the storm, because he is the mountain. A Stoic doesn't seek to be loved. He seeks to live by virtue, to master himself, to speak little, to see much, and to give only what is rooted in truth. Women may forget the charming man, they may forget the wealthy man, even the strong man. But they do not forget the man who saw them without needing them, the one who spoke without expectation, the one whose silence was louder than the rest. So stop chasing what is meant to be attracted by your stillness. Stop performing for attention. Start building the kind of presence that doesn't need to speak to be felt. Because when a man becomes that, he doesn't chase energy. He becomes it. And that is what makes her weak. Not to him, but to the truth he carries.